There's something quietly rebellious about people who refuse to make New Year's resolutions. While the rest of the world is scribbling down promises at midnight, clinking glasses to transformation, these people stand off to the side with a knowing look. And it's not cynicism. It's something far more interesting. Let's start with what most people get completely wrong. We assume that people who skip resolutions are lazy, unmotivated, or afraid of commitment, that they've given up on self-improvement entirely. But the research tells a different story. These individuals often have a deeper understanding of human psychology than the resolution makers around them. They've cracked something that takes most people decades to figure out. Think about what happens every January 1st. Gyms overflow with new members. Journals fill with ambitious goals. Social media floods with declarations of transformation. And then, predictably, something happens. By February, those gym parking lots are half empty. By March, the journals gather dust. Studies show that roughly 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by mid-February. Not mid-year. Mid-February. That's 6 weeks. The people who don't believe in resolutions have noticed this pattern. Not just in others, but in themselves. They have been through the cycle enough times to recognize that something about the entire system is fundamentally broken. And rather than blame themselves for lacking willpower, they started questioning the ritual itself. Here is what they understand that others do not. Motivation tied to an arbitrary date is borrowed motivation. It is not coming from within. It is coming from the calendar, from social pressure, from the collective energy of everyone around them making the same promises. Borrowed motivation has an expiration date. When the novelty of January fades, when the champagne headache clears, when real life reasserts itself, that external motivation evaporates. What is left? Just you. Staring at a goal you chose because the date told you to, not because something deep inside demanded change. Now picture someone who actually transforms their life. Maybe they quit smoking in July, started exercising in October, changed careers in March. Ask them why they started when they did, and they will not say, because it was a new year. They will say, because they were ready. They will say, because something clicked. They will say, because they could not live like that anymore. This is what psychologists call intrinsic motivation, the drive that comes from within, rather than from external circumstances. And the people who reject New Year's resolutions have learned, often through painful experience, that real change only sticks when it is fueled by something internal. They are not waiting for January. They are waiting for readiness. Those are two completely different things. But there is something else going on beneath the surface. Something about identity. When you make a New Year's resolution, you are essentially announcing to yourself and the world that you are currently not good enough. That the person you are on December 31st needs to become someone else by January 1st. There is an inherent rejection of your current self baked into the whole ritual. The people who opt out have developed a different relationship with self-improvement. They see growth as a continuous process, not a dramatic overhaul. They understand that lasting change happens through small, consistent adjustments, not through grand declarations made at midnight. They are not trying to become a different person. They are just trying to become a slightly better version of who they already are. And that subtle shift in framing makes all the difference. Consider how they handle failure differently. When a resolution maker slips up in January, eats the cookie, skips the gym, or loses their temper, they often experience what researchers call the what the hell effect. They think to themselves that they have already ruined it and might as well give up entirely. The resolution becomes an all or nothing proposition. One slip means total failure. But people who do not tie their growth to calendar dates do not experience setbacks the same way. A bad day is just a bad day. A mistake is just information. There is no dramatic failure narrative because there was no dramatic starting line. They are playing an infinite game while everyone else is playing a finite one. And infinite games are much harder to lose. There's also something fascinating about how these individuals handle social pressure. Every December, the resolution question becomes almost unavoidable. What's your New Year's resolution? It's small talk. It's expected. And yet, some people look at this question and feel nothing but resistance. Not because they're contrarian, but because they've learned to distrust decisions made under social pressure. They know that goals announced publicly often become performances rather than genuine commitments. The resolution becomes about appearing to change rather than actually changing. By opting out, they protect their real goals from the corrupting influence of external validation. Their growth stays private, which means it stays authentic. They've realized something crucial. The dopamine hit from announcing a goal can actually substitute for the satisfaction of achieving it. Your brain does not fully distinguish between talking about change and actually changing. So the more you broadcast your intentions, the less energy you have left for execution. The non-resolvers keep their plans close, and that privacy becomes power. What psychologists find particularly interesting is that these non-resolvers often score higher on measures of self-awareness. They know themselves well enough to recognize when they are performing motivation versus actually feeling it. They can distinguish between what they genuinely want and what they think they should want. This kind of self-knowledge takes years to develop, and it often comes from having tried and failed at enough resolutions to finally ask the uncomfortable question, why do I keep doing this if it never works? But here is where it gets really interesting. These people have not given up on improvement. They have just shifted their approach. Instead of setting outcome-based goals, such as lose 20 pounds, read 50 books, or save $10,000, they focus on systems and identity. They ask themselves, what kind of person do I want to be? And then they work backward from there. They do not say, I will run every morning starting January 1st. They say, I am the kind of person who moves their body. The first is a resolution that can be broken. The second is an identity that guides behavior naturally. The non-resolvers understand that you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So they build better systems instead of making bolder promises. There is also a quiet wisdom in their relationship with time. The resolution ritual treats January 1st as a magical reset button, as if time itself offers a fresh start just because the calendar flips. But these individuals see time differently. Every day is a potential starting point. Every moment offers the possibility of a different choice. This is not just philosophical, it is practical. If you can start changing on any random Tuesday in June, you have 365 opportunities per year instead of one. And if you slip up on that Tuesday, you have Wednesday. No drama. No waiting another year. Just continuous pressure-free opportunity. Perhaps most importantly, the people who reject New Year's resolutions have made peace with something that resolution makers often resist: the reality that change is slow, non-linear, and deeply personal. They have stopped looking for transformation in a single dramatic moment and started looking for it in the quiet accumulation of better choices. They have learned that the person who improves 1% every day does not need a resolution. They need patience. They need self-compassion. They need the wisdom to know that real growth is not announced at midnight to a room full of people. It happens in private moments when no one is watching. When you choose differently, not because it is January, but because you have finally become someone who chooses differently. So the next time you meet someone who shrugs off the resolution question, do not assume they have given up on becoming better. Consider the possibility that they have simply evolved past a ritual that never really worked. They have traded the excitement of the fresh start for something far more valuable: the quiet confidence of someone who does not need a calendar's permission to change.